Today I'm going to be making another delicious, quick sweetbread. I got the recipe off a blog from a lady named Rachel Howden. A couple weeks back I made a lemon thyme bread of hers that turned out really delicious. You can also check out that video on my channel. But today I'm making peanut butter banana bread. Sounds really good. It's a few simple ingredients and you'll have a delicious peanut butter banana bread. Try it with me. First, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Also, get out 2 eggs and let them warm to room temperature. This is always good when baking. Same if your recipe says softened butter, let it sit out for like half an hour, 40 minutes to room temperature. This recipe just needs melted butter though, so you don't have to let it soften. But let your eggs warm. Of course, for this banana bread, we're gonna need mashed bananas. When making banana breads, always just buy the nasty brown and black bananas, the ones that are just overly ripe, super soft. Those work really well for baking. So I'm putting it in a small bowl. I'm using just a ice cream scoop to mash it up. But you know, if it's overly ripe bananas, it's gonna mash really well, really easily. Mine's mashing pretty good. We're gonna need 1.5 cups worth, which I think is gonna be definitely a few bananas. Alright, that is 1.5 cups of mashed bananas. It took me 4 large bananas. Now in a large mixing bowl, we need to combine our 1.5 cups of mashed bananas. Let's get all of them out. You need 1/3 cup of plain yogurt, or in my case I substituted sour cream. They substitute for each other. Make sure you scrape it all out. We need 3 tablespoons of melted butter. You need 1/3 cup of creamy peanut butter. Peanut butter, of course, because it's peanut butter banana bread. So here's 1 egg. And here's the 2nd egg. Now we're going to need to beat all these together. So start on a slow speed with your mixer, or if you have to do it by hand, start slow. Don't splash everywhere. Then gradually speed up. I'd say that's mixed pretty well. I still have really tiny chunks of banana, but that's okay. They're pretty mashed. To this, we're going to add in our brown sugar and our regular white sugar, granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of each. Then we're going to blend those in. But then, on the side, we're going to mix some dry ingredients and slowly mix those in. So that's good. That's nice and packed. And it'll come out in one even chunk. Yeah, perfect. We need 1/2 cup of white sugar. Make sure that's nice and even. Pour that in. Now we're done with our sugars. So we need to beat those in. Start slow again. Now in a separate container, we need 1 3/4 cup of flour. So there's 1 cup. Even off the top with the bottom half of your butter knife, the spine. There's 3/4 cup. Now we need 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. So there's 1/2 teaspoon. I don't have a 3/4 teaspoon, I have a 1/2 and a 1/4. And together those will be your 3/4. There's my 1/4. And then because those were a little low, do a little bit more. There we go, 3/4 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm just gonna lightly mix all those together, just lightly. You also need a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. You also need 1/8 teaspoon of ground allspice. I only have whole allspice, and I'm just not in the mood to crunch it down, because you only need 1/8 teaspoon. So I'm going to pass on that. I did a little more cinnamon. So if you got allspice, use it. If not, it won't make that big a difference. Now we need to pour our flour mixture into our wet ingredients. And then it says blend just until mixed, or beat it just until mixed. Usually you go a little out of time with things, but because this is so little dry mixture, you can add it all at once. So start slow. Do not speed up too much. I kicked a little off the side, but it was barely anything. Okay, I'd say that's just blended. So let's grease up a 9x5 loaf pan and throw it in the oven. So I've got my 9x5 off to the side here. I greased it. Now I'm gonna pour in the batter. Then we gotta bake it for an hour. Use my icing spatula one more time just to get in the rest of the flour, maybe fold it a few times. Okay, so lightly pour this in. Make sure it spreads evenly. And really use your icing spatula to get out all your batter. You paid for these ingredients, you want the most out of them. Okay, I'd say that's most of my batter. Maybe lightly shake it. Pretty even, that'll bake evenly. Let's get it in the oven. Now get this loaf into your oven that's at 350 degrees. I always like to put it on a middle rack. Make sure your rack's in the middle of the oven and put this in the middle of that rack. Test it with a toothpick, insert it into the center, pull it out, see if it's clean. Her recipe I did last time, it took about the full time. So about 55 minutes, I'm gonna pull this out. All right, about 1 hour at 350 degrees. Okay, so it's been 55 minutes. Time to check my peanut butter banana bread. Smells done. Smells a little burnt, but I think it'll still be good. Yeah, it's a little dark on top, but it's okay. So maybe around 50 minutes and it'll be good, but this will still be delicious. What you need to do now is let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes. Or in my case, I'm going to cool it a little bit less, just because I cooked it slightly long. Let it cool for about 10 minutes, then get it to a wire rack. As soon as you get your bread out and are letting it cool in the pan, that's the time I would make the glaze. Or you can make it when it's still in the oven, but there's no rush. To make the glaze, you need 1/3 cup of powdered sugar, which is like the basing for any good icing. So there's 1/3 cup of that. Then we need a tablespoon of peanut butter. Of course, peanut butter glaze for a peanut butter banana dish. Get it out. You may have to use a spoon to help you get it all out. Then you need a tablespoon of milk. Oops. That was a little bit more, but it's okay. Now we need to whisk all these together. It's a nice peanut butter glaze. Maybe a little runny. After 10 minutes of cooling off in the pan, dump your loaf out onto a nice cooling rack to help it finish its cooling. Once it finally cools on your cooling rack, once it's room temperature, move it to a cutting board, cut it up, and then pour your glaze on. My bread cooled, so I transferred it to a cutting board and I cut it with a bread knife. Make sure it's completely cool. That will really help you cut it. It will be more easy. If it's still pretty warm, it might fall apart easy. Mine's kind of falling a little bit, but it's okay. Now, slowly pour your glaze on. Nice and smooth. Go back and forth. Over the top. Alright, let's try a piece of this delicious peanut butter banana bread. Okay, so I cut myself off a slice of this peanut butter banana bread. Made sure to get some of the peanut butter glaze on it. Let's try a piece. Oh yeah, that's good. First it hits you with the banana, tastes a lot like banana bread, but then it's got a really nice smooth undertone of creamy peanut butter. I'd say it's more of a banana bread with kind of like a hint of peanut butter. It's not like a strong peanut butter bread. So you want more peanut butter flavor, add a little more peanut butter. But the peanut butter glaze really helps even it out. Very warm, very hearty, not too overpowering sugar-wise or anything. It's a nice bread that would go well with a glass of milk or a cup of tea. Good luck!